Do we have our guests tonight, Beth?
It's 7 o'clock and you guys are now live.
Katie. Hi, this is the Parks and Recs Commission meeting for April 4th or April 5th, 2001, starting at 7:05. I'm Chair Beth Ashbaugh. I guess we go into roll call, right?
Correct.
Okay.
You got it.
Carolyn Marks,
Here.
Commissioner Marks, Commissioner Heindel,
Here.
Commissioner Huntsman.
Here, I just might have to go. I have an epileptic dog who is currently seizing.
Oh,
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm gonna skip out for this one. I apologize.
Nope, go.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
And I, oh, poor puppy. Okay, Commissioner Cudmore is absent as well. Councilmember Shu is present.
you're muted, Katie, I think.
I'm
There you go.
here. Yeah,
There
it's-
she
okay.
is.
I tried to press my space bar to let me talk and it took my video away instead. So I don't know if I messed with my settings or something, but I'm here.
And Parks Administrator Lansing.
Here.
All right. Do we have we have a quorum though, right? Just,
Yeah.
all right, okay. And we have to approve the minutes from March. Anybody move to,
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the March Parks and Recreation Commission meeting minutes.
I will second that if we need to.
I think we do, but just in case. Okay, and is Danny Lapin here? Lappin? Mr. Lappin?
He is, but I believe he's.
I'm here. I'm here.
There he is. Hi,
Hi.
Danny.
Hi, sorry, I was on another call. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hi, thanks for coming. Did you have anything you wanted to?
Yeah, I was wanting to attend I've received, I'm very connected with the basketball community and owning on to being an avid player myself. And they've been asking me, online. I've heard from maybe dozens of people now with the question of when the hoops are going to come up in the city. The reason I ask this is because several other municipalities throughout the state are allowing basketball within their park system. More locally, Clark Sports Center is now allowing basketball in the gym, even though it's very restricted. You can only play one person per half court, but you can shoot at least. And so they allow two people in the gym at a given time. But, I was just, here to ask, for, maybe a timeline or an explanation as to the thought process that can be delivered to the players, because as it is with online communities and social media, speculation and rumors can run rampant, and it doesn't really do anybody any good to have misinformation flying around. So I just wanted to see if there was, if the committee was willing to share their thoughts and maybe communicate a message back to the folks who are playing basketball in the community.
Thank you for mentioning all that. That has definitely been a topic of conversation with us. Lou, did you have, it's a bunch in your Parks and Recs report, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Danny, I'm Lou Lansing and I'm the Parks Administrator. And I will tell you that if you've spoken to dozens of people, I've spoken to dozens of people about this, as has Greg Mattice, and I'm not sure if anybody else has. here's the thing with basketball. Basketball is still labeled by the state as a high-risk sport, just like football, volleyball, martial arts, competitive dance, ice hockey, rugby, and contact lacrosse. So basketball is not the only sport, and we are certainly not targeting them. You said the magic word when you said some municipalities are allowing it, some towns are allowing it. You said the magic words and that you said restricted use. Okay. It's very hard to restrict use in the parks. You put up the rims. Who is there to restrict use? Nobody, really. I mean, unless OPD drives through the park and sees somebody playing 3-on-3. Okay. But that's even beside the point. I just wanted to say basketball is high risk because it's very difficult to avoid touching or sharing equipment. It's very difficult to clean and disinfect equipment in between individual use. And it's very difficult not to have shared equipment. You can't clean the basketball off every time somebody handles it. Here's the other part of that. If you could look at, which you don't have, Danny, but I've sent it to all the commission, reopening New York from the state. It says that certain sports that are labeled high risk can be allowed if individuals or distance group training and activities can be allowed. Organized no or low contact group training. That's why some of these other places are able to do this, like Clark Gym. Competitive team practices, games, meets, matches, scrimmage, organized leagues, pickup sports, etc. But then it also has a point that says they can be allowed if allowed by a local health organization. Our local health organization, Otsego County Health Office, asked us a little more than a week ago. Greg contacted them and asked if we could put the rims back up in the park. They asked us not to. They are our local health organization and we have to abide by what they ask. And that's what we have told everyone. We've sent countless emails. I think, Carrie, I haven't been on the Recreation Facebook page, but I think Carrie has put that on the Recreation Facebook page, that very thing. So that's our answer. And that's why we're doing it.
Thank you. That's a very clear and concise explanation. So in the event, so the county, just to clarify one point that you made, Lou, and I really appreciate the explanation. So the health office asked not to put the rims up. They didn't necessarily preclude the possibility of an organized league.
We didn't ask them about an organized league. We asked them if we could put the rims up because that has to be the first step.
Okay.
And they said, no, don't put the rims up. I think, Danny, what we are doing with every other sport is we're taking it case by case.
Sure.
We do not have a blanket policy with anything, and we are asking a lot of any organization that's coming into the park to do anything.
Of course,
So,
yeah. So it
I
would be-
suspect that the basketball people, I mean, I know they want to play. I would like nothing more than to say to them, they're going up tomorrow. I would love that, but we just can't do it now.
Of course. So I understand. So the first step would be to receive positive, like a okay from the health department.
If the health department approves it, then we'll move forward. We'll probably put the rims up as soon as we get that approval. But we will also probably have some stipulations, probably some signage there on what we will and won't allow.
Sure.
As far as a competitive league, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, so that would be, again, have to be, once that first step's achieved, then the competitive league they're free to engage in discussions with the city about how and what
Right.
precautions. Okay, thank you.
And I will tell you, Danny, part of the reason we took the rims down is when when COVID first came in March of 2020, we basically asked people to, social distance and stuff, and we found that it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So to protect people, we had to remove the rims.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's tough. It's one of those things.
It is hard. It
You
is
know,
hard. They're
you've
there.
got like 12 guys.
I know.
You know, you get some good people who want to shoot, and then 6 or 7 guys ruin it for everybody.
Yeah. Well, you know, that, and it's hard. I understand that. I mean, who wants, I'm not a basketball person, but I'm a volleyball person. I can't imagine not being able to play volleyball if I wanted to. I mean, it's the same way we're not allowing any use of the Armory all winter long. No basketball league, no volleyball league, no indoor soccer.
It's been
So
tough,
it's
yeah.
across the board because
it's fair.
right now, we can't open up indoor space.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's a tough position, and I appreciate the caution you're taking. The last thing we want is for a league to be an outbreak point for COVID, especially now,
Right.
and especially among
Right.
our younger population who may not be vaccinated. So,
Yeah. I just had a gentleman ask me if he runs a basketball, like an AAU tournament sort of thing. And he's asked to use the Armory in the past. And he just called the other day and I said, no, we're not allowing use of the Armory. And he's like, for the rest of the year? And I said, well, that I don't know. Things are changing all the time. I said, reach out to me again in the fall.
probably
Maybe
the
we
same.
will be. I don't know.
The same folks I've been talking to.
You know, could be.
Yeah,
Could be.
Cam, you know, Cam Hayes.
I do know Cam. He's after
Yeah.
me all the time. Cam
Yep.
Hayes wants it.
Yep.
And you know, we work with his group all the time in the Armory and in the parks. I know he's a great guy.
He works
services-
hard. You know,
He services a lot of people. You know, I would love him to be able to get his league up and running. I
I
understand.
appreciate that. Yeah, and I think that the main thing that we were looking to do is to have facilitate a more constructive dialogue so that, you know, Cam and I do what we can to keep, you know, the discussion civil and, you know, rumors from flying. But at the very least, you know, we wanted to have this kind of back and forth to where we can make sure that the information coming from point A to point B is clear and accurate.
Right.
And that, you know, the city does take, you know, people's love for sports, basketball and soccer, lacrosse, et cetera, very seriously. And that's something that we're grateful for. So we appreciate you sharing that with us.
So,
Danny,
and tell
have you
Cam
done
he's welcome to
anything
reach
with
out
the
to me and I'll
YMCA?
tell him the same thing.
does
I'm
the,
sorry, Carolyn.
how about the YMCA? Are they doing any adult basketball indoor? Or
I don't know if they are or aren't, but I suspect they are not.
Yeah, I don't think that,
That's Otsego County. I mean,
Oh,
I-
right, here we go. It's still
Yeah.
that.
yeah, so,
I
I don't
don't think
think-
they will. I think that they're doing very limited activities in their facility for
Okay.
everybody,
Right.
yeah.
for everything.
I don't think they're letting folks in to use the facilities that aren't members at this point.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
Trying
you're
to keep
right.
their numbers low.
yeah,
So,
Clark
think you're
Sports
right.
Center doesn't allow anybody under the age of 18 in the gym right now.
Right.
They also, all their adult basketball leagues are canceled. You know, for the, you know, until our case numbers go down and, you know, we've seen increase in cases anyway, throughout the county. So we're, you know,
Right.
caution still very much warranted.
Yeah, and hopefully things will change as more people get vaccinated. So that's a good thing.
The good news about so many players being young is that they can go a couple of years and still have decades of playing experience ahead of them. So
That's right. That's right. Danny, please tell any of them, we're sorry. They can reach out to me if you know, they want further clarification, if I can give it to them. But, you know, as soon as we hear something from the county, we'll decide what we can move forward with.
great. Thank you so much, though. I really, really appreciate it. And Katie, thank you for the invitation.
yeah.
It's a
thanks for
weird
reaching out to me.
thing, you know, being advocating for them. It's like a weird melding of all numerous hats, but I think, you know, it was more like I said, I just wanted to make sure that they understood that the city was on their side and not trying to oppress them or control them, and that, you know, they're doing the best thing that we can for the community. So I just wanted to again express my appreciation. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Danny.
Having Danny.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Bye. Okay, so next we now have the Parks report from Lou.
Yes, I'm sorry it was so long.
I thought it was good.
Oh,
Comprehensive.
It was really fun to put together, let me tell you, but I wanted to go with the first attachment using City of Oneonta Parks. This is on our website for everyone to read. Unfortunately, not everyone goes to our website, but at least we have this on. This is something that I will send to every single user that gets a permit. They will also get this document. So that, any questions on this? You've all taken a look at it. There's a lot of things that are specific to COVID-19 safety standards. So, all right. So moving on, I wanted the group, I think Brett is the only one that's seen something like this before, that permits. I wanted you to see the permits that people get. So I made a fake dog show and a fake dog show after hours party. So the dog show is in the space. This is what anybody who uses park space, with the exception of pavilions, gets this kind of document that says the Neowal parking area for the pickleball courts. And I wanted you to see this so because you can see, in accordance with COVID-19 safety measures, the following rules and guidelines were established. Permit holders must have submitted their organization's COVID-19 reopening safety plan to the New York State Department of Health. They have to go on New York Forward, and there's a whole document they have to fill out with the state, and then they have to confirm that they've done that. After they do that, they have to send me, they've already applied, so they have to send me their confirmation email saying that they have done the New York Forward Safety Plan, along with their certificate of insurance. If they don't do those two things, they don't get a permit to use the park. So they do those two things, they get a permit. And then permit holders and organizations must abide by all state and local regulations regarding face masks, social distancing, and limitations on group size gatherings that are in effect at the time of their event. So it was really hard for us to decide what kind of rules we should lay out because things change all the time. So we're asking people to stay in tune with what's being allowed at that particular time. And the kind of putting some of the ownership on them to do those things. Out of state visitors, I'm not going to talk about that because that's already changed. And this is anyone who's feeling sick or has been advised by the health department to quarantine due to a recent positive COVID test or due to close contact with someone who's tested positive for COVID-19 must not participate. And again, this is up to the permit holder to be in tune with that. And then they have to abide by the other stipulations that go in the park. Right. I wanted you to see the pavilion thing, not just for the after hours party, but I wanted you to see that Carrie has designed the pavilion permit. She put some very specific things in here. We went through if you look at there's 2 pages for the pavilions, and then there's this one that has all the little boxes on it, says pavilion capacities. What we did is John Williams went through every single pavilion and we downsized all the pavilions according to how many tables we could put in. And we can safely put 6 people at a table as long as those people are within a family or their particular safety pod, whatever, the people that they can be around. So that's how we figured out capacity is in each one of the pavilions, because normally a large pavilion is 100 people. I'm sorry, 200 people. And now you can see the large pavilion in Neowa is 78 because it's a little bit smaller. And the large pavilion in Wilbur is 90. And what we've done is we've put X's, the guys, well, they haven't done it yet because the pavilions aren't open, but they will put X's on the floor and there will be a picnic table on each one of those X's. And we're asking people not to move those tables so that they are all automatically COVID, the 6 foot distance. So any questions on that? That's why I put that in there. Pavilion permittees and their guests are strongly encouraged to abide by all social distancing requirements and maximum capacities. Okay, all right. And I just went through this reopening with Danny on the basketball. That's why I put that in there.
Mhm.
Okay. This next section is the month of April. As you can see, this is what's going on the month of April in the park and all the parks. It really doesn't get really active until April 19th, and that's when Oneonta High School varsity tennis team starts their practices in Wilbur. And modified baseball and softball start using Neowa. And that's all weather permitting that we've released our fields and everything. So just so you have an idea, this is what I give the parks crew so they know what facilities need to be taken care of for that particular day or week. So they get this every Friday from me, because a lot of times it changes. When I give this to them, because when we have all of our activities in the park, like say we'll take a week in July when we have all of our activities in the park, this could be 8 or 10 pages long like this. So what I do for them is I do a sheet with I isolate pavilions so they know how the pavilions need to be set up. I isolate a sheet just for baseball fields, which is Demoski and Field 6. I isolate another sheet for softball games. I isolate another sheet for everything else in the park. So that's what this is. And I usually color code them for the guys to make it easier. Okay. Is everybody asleep yet? Okay. So we are now down to bench donation. Kim Baskin has done her paperwork to do a bench donation in memory of her father. Her father was Bud Perone, William Perone. According to the City of Oneonta bench and plaque donation, the Parks and Recreation Commission has to vote on allowing the bench to be placed in Wilbur Park, and we want to place it. That's what this, after the William Perone, this is this very bad picture is of Wilbur Park, Waddington Memorial location. That's where in Wilbur Park near courts 1 through 5. And that's where George Waddington's memorial is. And the tennis courts were named for George quite a while ago. We would like to be able to put a bench for Bud in this area. That's what she's asking. We have to, as a commission, vote on both of those, allowing it to be placed there. And then we have to vote on the language for the plaque on the bench. So do you want me to go on? Do you want to take time to vote on that now or talk about that now? Or what would you like?
I'm cool with either one. We could vote now or we could vote after your report.
It's up to you, Beth. What do you want to do? It might
Let's
be
keep
better to
rolling with
just
your
do it
report.
now. Give you
Oh.
a little bit of a break from me. And in
Okay.
case there's any discussion on this.
Okay, so the placement for the bench is going to be, oh gosh, I'm brain
Near the
farting already.
Waddington Memorial in Wilbur.
What, okay. And is anybody opposed to that? No, I'm okay with it. So, all in favor?
Mhm,
Quorum, everybody? Yep.
mhm.
And no opposition? Okay. Has been approved. I hope I did that right.
Yeah, location's approved. Now you can just do language on the. In loving memory of William, in parentheses, Bud Perone, because that's what he was called, Bud, forever in our hearts.
I'm okay with that.
I'll make a motion to approve the language of William Bud Perone's memory on his bench to be placed in Wilbur Park.
I second that.
So we're good?
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Okay. The rest of this is updates on what's going on. The first one is resurfacing. I don't know if any of you had a chance to go by the tennis courts or the pickleball courts. Unfortunately, there is a lot of, I'm not sure if it was the age of the courts or the really freezing temperatures we had over the winter. The fact that they didn't do the courts until the fall because we had a lot of activity on the courts in the summertime. So they did the project in the fall. And at the time they did the project, there was a lot of moisture on the courts. So or a combination of all those things. But many of the seams are tearing up on the courts. They're very much a tripping hazard on the tennis courts and on the pickleball courts. There's probably 2 to 3 of the tennis courts on 1 through 5 that are nearly, I won't say unplayable, but very hazardous. There is one pickleball court, several of them need attention, but there's one in particular that's completely unplayable. Greg and Dave and John and I met with a representative from the Nagel Company. They are surprised, to say the least, that this happened. They will totally repair everything. They were supposed to come back today or over the course of the next couple of weeks. Tennis doesn't start till the 19th. Greg has asked them to get on the courts as soon as possible to make repairs so that they can be used by the public as soon as possible, and then for tennis. We will try to get through the season with a temporary fix. And then after the tennis season is over, when the company can, they will get back as soon as possible and do something more permanent to repair the courts in Wilbur, to repaint the courts that are closest to the pool, and then to come down and do the repairs in Neowa. And remember that the pickleball lines were off by about 2 feet, and they need to make that adjustment as well. So all I can say is it will inconvenience our public, to say the least, because everybody would like to be on them now. That's, besides basketball, that's another call I'm getting all the time. When are the pickleball courts going to be unlocked and open? When are the tennis courts going to be unlocked and open? That's the holdup right now. We have allowed the pickleball group. They purchased on our surplus, they purchased some of the portable sites. We have allowed a small group of them to handle some keys and be able to get in there with their portable sites on the courts that are usable with their systems and play a little bit. But they are to lock it up when they're done, and they've been very good about doing that. Just in case you hear, why are some people using it and others are not? That's the reason. Any questions on that? Go ahead, Katie.
So am I correct in assuming that all the repairs, and actually first let me ask about the timeline. So they're going to patch, do sort of a repair patch
Right.
for these things prior to the April 19th start.
That's the way we left it. Yes.
Okay. And that's just a temporary fix. And then with regard to a more permanent solution, is that a complete resurfacing at their expense?
No, I don't think so. There are a couple in the areas that they've patched. I think what they want, because we're still in cold weather, and to be the best that they can get it, I think we have to have warmer temperatures. I think it has to be at least 50 and maybe warmer, even overnight. And we don't have that now. That's why they're doing a temporary. And then hopefully by the time tennis is done mid-June, the temperatures will be much warmer, so they can do something more permanent and be certain, or be more sure, that it will take.
Right. And so, okay, so tennis is done. I mean, but people will play tennis in June and July, right? So, I mean,
Yes. I mean, there will be
presumably-
there will be some time that the courts are down. How
Yeah,
long it
okay,
will
good.
be- how long it will be, I don't know. I
Right.
mean, I don't know how long it will take them to actually get on it. Once they've painted, put down paint, and they do have to paint the courts, like I said, that are close to the basketball court and the 2 tennis courts closer to Briggs Pool. That according to the gentleman from Nagel, it will take 24 hours for that paint to dry. I suspect that that's best case scenario. I
Well-
would say it's going to take more like 48 hours.
Sure. I mean, especially before play, if we want them to hold up. With regard to the ones that are kind of unsafe, they're the courts that were just done in the fall, right? That's what we're talking about?
Everything was just done in the fall.
Right. So they need to be resurfaced, right? Not just repainted if they're unsafe.
Well, any place where they have made a patch, they're going to make sure that that patch is more long lasting, and they'll probably have to apply some paint there. Yes.
No way.
They're not going to do a
We-
total resurfacing.
But we paid them to do a total resurfacing and they did a chop job.
I don't think that they did, Katie. I think there's a lot of things. I will tell you this. What I know about resurfacing is not a lot.
Mhm. I mean,
So-
likewise, yeah.
So
But
what
Lou, I
I
mean-
did is,
Oh.
I called Tim Catella.
Mhm.
Tim Catella does this all the time. He used to be head of the Parks and Recreation Commission. He
Mhm.
does this all the
For a
time.
long time.
He came and inspected the work. And he said he was not surprised that this happened, given the age of the courts, given the temperatures we had over the winter. He said he's seen this happen a lot. Had I not talked to him, I would have felt a little bit like what you just said.
Mhm.
That they maybe didn't do this correctly.
I mean-
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I mean, I guess I have reservations about that only because, those conditions were present at the time that they won the bid to do the resurfacing, and they should have taken all of that into account. This is what they do. And I think, further evidence of them not really doing their best work is that the pickleball courts were just flat out wrong. That's what we hired them to do. And so, I mean, I guess, as a city representative, I'm pretty disappointed in that and in them, not in you or Greg.
Right.
And I guess my question is, so I wouldn't be thrilled, right, with our purchase of their services. And, I guess that's something that maybe I can bring to council. But I don't know if it's something where, I don't know, maybe I'll just partner with Greg and figure out what to do, because I just don't want to see the city make that investment and then get the short end of it.
I think that's completely fair. I think you have a valid concern. So do I. I think I'm glad that you said you'll partner with Greg, because Greg and I are doing our best to make sure that they will make this right. I can promise you that they will.
Yeah, it's just to what
yeah.
extent their right and our right aligns,
Mhm.
I guess.
And
So-
I will tell you, we brought it to their attention about the pickleball court lines. That
Yeah, that's like,
is it. I think that was
unbelievable.
inexcusable. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not something that, I mean, and he kind of hinted, well, we hired a group and maybe they were new, but that's not an excuse.
right.
And the only thing is, and Tim said this to me as well. He said they're going to have to make these repairs at all of their costs. And he
Right.
said they're not going to be happy they have to make them, but they have to make them.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I'm just
of
wondering
course-
like what the contract looked like with them, if we
that,
haven't used
that I don't
that
know.
way.
Greg could
yeah.
probably tell you more about that than I could.
All right, thank
I-
you.
I think you have a valid point, and I don't think there's anything wrong with council hearing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So
I'm glad that Katie brought this up, because this also just seems astonishing to me that, resurfacing tennis ball courts in upstate New York. Of course, it's going to be a cold winter, right? That
Mhm.
it seems like a no-brainer to me. It seems like just well, of course, I know nothing about planning. I'm sorry, about paving, but it seems like basic planning should have made that, should have accounted for that. I wonder if this would, and I don't want to step on the chair's toes, but I wonder if this might be grounds for a resolution from this body going to city council, sort of expressing our concern about the state of the repair job.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I would mind, more concrete resolution from the company. So
I think I would like to go and take a look at the courts in Wilbur Park myself. I'd like to actually see.
Let me know when you want to go up, Carolyn, and I'll
Okay.
come and unlock them.
Okay.
I'll let you take a look.
that's right.
Because they're locked right now. And if you look at it from the street, it's very hard to see
Yeah,
those things.
okay, because again, I'm through the park all the time and I obviously didn't notice that
Yeah.
a distance.
Well, I didn't notice it either. It was when our guys a little more than a week ago, went to put the new systems in place. And Dave was horrified that there were these tears and stuff. So no, I'd be glad to show you whenever you want to go.
That's really disappointing in such a short period of time. I'm just
Right.
wondering, maybe the time of year that they did this, maybe it should have been done at a different time.
It maybe, but it was, we would have to put some of our organizations off the courts, and we didn't want to do that. And we
okay.
told them that a best timeline for us was the fall. And, they said yes.
And that
they
they
said,
could
okay.
do that they were
Right.
able to provide the service and have it done correctly and
Yeah.
safely.
I
But
mean, if
it-
they had, I can agree with that part of it. If they had reservations that, they should
The
have voiced them then.
professionals,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on them to say no if they can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
right? We'll have to push it till next year or.
yeah, that would have
So
worked.
Brett, do you move a resolution? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. So
I mean, just having watched Tim Catella do it many times, it often came from the chairs, plural. And
Okay.
so I think that could be, and we're just talking about like a couple sentences, not like a Declaration of Independence kind of thing.
gotcha. Okay, so be like, I moved to, how would I say that?
Oh, do you know what? I would almost probably just, since it's the first one for the majority of this group, myself included, I'll probably reach out to Dave Merzig and just be like, what does that look like? The other thing is we could check like past minutes from other meetings and just see what the format is so we can get that together.
Let me see if
think
I
it-
have one in my.
Okay, sweet.
Because I think it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
And I mean,
suggestion.
often it can just be like, the Parks and Recreation Commission expresses its concern over the state of the
I think
repair.
that's all it has to be. I think that's all it
Okay,
has to be.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
Can be,
So, yeah, the Parks and Recs Commission is stating its concerns about the state of repairs done by the Nagel Company
yeah.
Surfacing company.
Not the
name.
state of repairs, maybe
or the resurfacing.
Resurfacing.
the resurfacing
Okay.
project.
Okay,
Yeah, and I mean, maybe, specifically the cracks in courts, X, Y, and Z. I can't remember which ones they were, but
Yeah. Lou, actually, could you forward the specific damages so that we can we can include those, because I think that that's the extent of it.
What do you mean
It's important.
forward? I don't have anything to forward. What do
Oh,
you mean?
I just mean like in an email to all of us, the,
Okay.
like Brett was saying, like cracks in courts, et cetera, et cetera.
But
know,
what
the-
I'd
the
like you to do,
incorrect
Katie,
paint. Yep.
I can do that, but what I'd like you to do is talk to Greg,
Oh, I will. Okay. Yep.
Dr. Greg.
Okay.
Because I haven't spoken directly with Greg since we met with Nagel. So, you know, he may feel the same way. He may feel, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to say something to
Sure.
council about it. I don't know. And maybe he'll say, no, they're gonna make it right and whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Have we worked with this company in the past with other projects in the park as far as surfaces, like for example, maybe the basketball courts, or
To my knowledge, I don't know, Carolyn. I don't know the
Okay.
answer to that. But they came highly recommended.
Mhm.
You know, Tim Catella was one of the ones that highly recommended them. They use them all the time. This
Mhm.
company is a big resurfacing company.
Mhm. Okay.
This isn't like Sam and his brother down the road doing a resurfacing project.
Okay.
But
Well,
go-
okay.
But going back to Katie's point, that if I'm just wondering, like, how much patchwork would need to be done? Could we request if they
Oh, well, what,
I don't know enough about it. I'd have to see if, or you know what I mean?
well, they're definitely paying for all repairs. We
Yeah,
just
well, yeah,
are
paying for repairs.
concerned that we paid for this and it's shoddy.
It's even been a year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a decent investment, you know, on the behalf of the community for
Yeah.
it to not even last to the next season to be able to be used is,
Yeah.
yeah,
What would the
as-
extent of the
astonishing is a
repairs
good-
entail?
right.
Yeah.
yeah. So a resolution, right, basically would just be presented to council that would say the Parks and Rec Commission, I don't know, is disappointed, has concerns, would like to voice our discontent, et cetera, at the resurfacing project that was done by Nagel. And I don't know, is there a call to action? Would like the council to something?
That's my question. Where would that go from there? That's a good question, Katie.
Yeah, I mean, I've never, that's why I'm like, when I have a question, I'm just like, Dave Merzick, what do I do? And he
That's
he
why,
tells me.
that's
Yeah.
that's why I think, Katie,
Yeah.
that you should talk to Greg about it.
Yeah.
And see
Oh,
what he
yeah, he'll
says.
be,
Because he has all the information and he
He'll
may
know.
even want you to, as a council member liaison with the commission, go and take a look. So
Yeah.
that when the council asks you about this, you can say, yeah, I saw it and this is what I think.
yeah. I mean, I would be thrilled to do that. It's gonna be nice this week, Lou. So whenever is a good time for you, let me know.
You just tell me when you want to go, when Carolyn
Okay.
wants to go, I'd be glad to take anyone there to look at
Okay, cool.
I
it.
live
And
right,
let me know, maybe Greg could even meet us there and we could kill two birds with one stone here.
Okay.
Mhm.
yeah. and
Yeah.
please-
Thursday morning works for me. Okay.
I'll have to look at my calendar, but yeah. I mean, I guess I'll just bring it. I do a report at the council meeting. I'll just bring it up at the council meeting tomorrow and say
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
I'm
Yeah,
looking into it, and then I'll have more information at our next council meeting.
okay.
Yeah, and so,
And if any members of council, Katie, want to join us, let me know.
okay, yeah,
you
I'll
know-
extend that invitation for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, you know,
Cool.
okay. And
Great.
in the meantime, I'll reach out to Greg and let him know that you have a concern. I
Okay,
mean, that way he knows and maybe he can be at the council meeting tomorrow night. I think he usually attends, doesn't he?
usually, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
he
usually
might
have
be
a
able
ton of
to-
questions for Greg.
He might be able to answer some of the questions then, so.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Are we ready to move on or?
Yes.
Okay. On the 31st, the city and the YMCA met to talk about the swim program. Basically, I'm giving you dates in there that we have tentatively set. I think they're pretty good dates. We hope to have the pool open by July 1st. The reason why it's a little bit later than normal this year is because the high school is going later than normal this year because of COVID and those kinds of things. The good news is the Y can offer the 5th week of safety around water, lessons for kids, and that's always wonderful. And they're planning a 6-week afternoon program, hopefully just getting information from the state, and they'll be able to offer a little more, maybe be able to increase their numbers a little bit of involvement. We'll let you know when I hear more. All of our COVID restrictions that we had last year will carry over to this year unless we're informed by the state that we can lighten those, or heaven forbid, if something happens and we have to make them tougher. But I hope that's not the case. So, any questions on the pool? Of that stuff? Okay.
No.
The dog park committee has met twice. We are trying very hard to get some recommended rules that we can advise. And what we're hoping is next month at this commission meeting, we'll have some rules for you all to talk about. And I hope, be able to pass them on to the council with your blessing, or maybe we, have to do more. The dog park, Greg went over the dog park grounds and everything with the dog park committee group. And basically our part of the work at the dog park area should be done sometime in May, certainly by the end of May. Now that means the construction part of things, pouring of the concrete at both entrance areas, the topsoil spread, the ground seeded. That doesn't mean all the grass will be grown in by May, of course. We're hoping to have a lot of grass grown in there. When the fence company can get us on their project will determine when they can get the fence up, and that will determine more about when the dog park could actually open. So I don't have a date for that yet, and I don't anticipate it'll be for a while yet. But we have to have rules and signage before we can move forward with opening it up. So that's why we got that as the first thing. We also decided that it would probably be best in the future to always have a community event so that we can have community members help prepare the park for opening. If the parks crew get a load of gravel and it needs to be spread somewhere, having the community involvement, I think, is a really good thing. I mean, that's part of what we talked about, having the community involved when we close it down for winterizing. We have come up with the idea that the dog park should open in May and close at the end of October. One member of the dog park group asked why it couldn't be open year round. I think that that's very unrealistic given our parks department schedule and how our parks people also do streets and sidewalks in the winter. Asking them to clear a spot to a dog park, I think, is a little beyond what they're capable of doing right now. We shouldn't be asking them to do that. They're having all they can do to clean sidewalks and streets. And they did go above and beyond this year, keeping the more park streets open so people could walk in light of COVID. So I'm not going to ask them to do more there, or I don't want to, and I hope the city won't. I don't think they will. But anyway, any questions on the dog park at this point? Okay. We have a community service project that's going to happen on Sunday. Tracy Ranieri, the AD at Oneonta State, is offering about 8 or 10 of her student athletes, and they're going to help us clean up Veterans Walkway. Our Eric, who usually does our weeding and taking care of the walkway and taking care of Main Street, Eric has left his position, and while we're searching for someone, we don't have anyone in that position. So we thought that this was fantastic that they offered to come down and clean the walkway. So that will happen on Sunday with the help of a Parks member will be there, Parks crew member will be there with them. And they're going to spread mulch, weed and spread mulch and clean up. It's going to be a good thing, I think. And they're going to abide by all the COVID safety regulations that we're asking for. So, any question on that? Okay.
No, that's
Back to
great.
next attachment. We're almost done with these attachments. This is the home schedule for the Outlaws. The Outlaws have received permission to compete this year, which is a good thing. Gary is so excited and I'm so excited for him. So we have their home schedule here. I will get that entered in our that's another reason why there isn't too much on that calendar I gave you, because I don't have their schedule in yet, but I will get it in soon. They do have, Gary does have a dog show planned at Demoski in September. We have 3 events that we usually cover for them, and that's one of them. But that I will get to that later as we get closer to September. So the last attachment has to do with the library. I thought Katie would just be so excited about this because it's right up her alley. Tina Winstead, who is the director of the library, Huntington Library, called me and emailed me, and we talked about this. She's requesting park space as a new user for summer reading program for children through age 12. The theme of their program this year is Tales and Tales, which is animals and stories. I think that this is just the greatest thing to have kids outside in the parks, reading and enjoying the parks. It's my hope that you will all be as enthusiastic about this as I am. And you will have to vote on whether you want to support her as a new user. I can guarantee they have insurance because they have it through the city. I can guarantee that she's done a New York Forward plan because she's already confirmed that. So I can't really see any downside to this. The only thing I can't tell you is I can't tell you actually where they'll be in the park because Tina and I are going to work that out. I can't tell you what days they're going to be in the park because Tina and I are going to work that out. What I'd like to do is give her an open-ended permit so that she can come to the park at days that fits best with the children she has and when the weather cooperates. Since they're not going to be under a pavilion or something like that, they certainly could be, but right now she's just requesting space. So do you want to talk about that at all, Carol and Beth?
I think it's a great idea.
I'm all about that.
In
Yeah.
Neal Park, how about, that little building that is near the basketball court that's in the center where the playground equipment is? Would that be, or do we have a number of readers?
That's possible. I mean, I told her that we have, chances are she'd be coming on a weekday. Chances are she'd be coming during the day. Getting into one of the pavilions if she needed it, I think wouldn't be a problem. We could put her in one of the small pavilions in Neowell, one of the small pavilions in Wilbur. They're usually not booked that heavily during the week. I don't really think she wants a pavilion. She just wants to come to the park on a nice day and be outside. And that's why I kind of want to give her something open-ended, but Tina and I are going to work it out. If the commission decides they're going to approve it, you have to put something in motion to approve this so that it can go in your minutes. So.
Okay. Anybody move to approve this?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve Tina Winstead, Director of Huntington Libraries, summer reading program, Tales and Tales.
Okay, and second, anyone?
I'll second, but I also have a question. But maybe you want to take a vote first.
Any opposed? No, I'm all
She's
in
good to
favor.
go.
Yeah, good to go. Okay,
Brett?
thanks. Brett?
Yeah. My question is, Lou, has there been any talk of doing that Lunches in the Park program through Catholic Charities?
Yes. She contacted me. I'm sorry. I had so many other things. I didn't put it in here. I just recommended to her. She asked me if they could just deliver the lunches without booking a pavilion. My response to her, which I also sent on to Carrie because the city clerk does all the pavilion rentals. I asked her if she would just continue to do the pavilion rental and do it there because we have COVID. We have things set up for COVID there. I think people depend on that meals program.
Yeah.
And I think knowing where she's going to be instead of just the backseat of a car, I think it's a better idea if she just continues to go to the pavilion. I don't believe it costs anything because she's a service organization asking for the pavilion during the week. So I think we just give it to her.
Yeah.
I asked her to continue to do that, and I sent that to Carrie as well. Carrie has not responded only because she's on vacation. I'm certain that she will second that when she returns.
Well, and I wonder if there's room for overlap between that and the library program, just in the sense of, getting lunches to kids who need them, but also, doing reading kinds of programs.
I can let Tina know about that program if she doesn't know about it. It's a good point. I can talk to her about it. I don't know. That's a good point, but I can tell Tina about the lunch program.
Mhm.
They do deliver to other areas besides Neowal, so she may know about it, but I'll tell her about it. And I have put Tina in touch with the Otsego County Conservation Department because frequently they do youth programming. And I've connected her with the program director up there, and hopefully they can work together and offer something for the children in the park. So I'll let Tina know that she has your blessing to move forward. That's good. So the only other thing I have on here is all of the park users. These are everyone that's given me an application. I just got an application from Phyllis Orlowski, the youth tennis program that happens. So she's applied. We are going through all of the things that we have to go through to keep everyone safe to allow these things to happen. So we will occasionally, the city has reserved its right as recommended by our health officer, that any of the bigger programs, for example, Pride Fest has the ability to be a big draw to the parks and could be a lot of people. We have asked to take a look at their New York forward safety plan before we do anything with that. They have not submitted it yet because they just don't know what they're going to do. I mean, everybody's trying to figure out their programs right now. So next month, I may have a little more information for you on those things. So I don't know yet. A couple summer programs that have not yet applied and they're past the application deadline. I mean, we still take their application, but there's supposed to be a late fee. I will talk to Jenny in finance about the late fee. My opinion, for what it's worth, is that we don't use the late fee this year because of COVID and everything. People are so up in the air with how they're doing things. We have application deadline that requires people to get their application in early. People don't know what's going to go on. So we may have to hold up on that. And I think it's a good plan. And I think Jenny's very reasonable and I think she will agree to that. But here is two events that did apply. Both of these events applied. Cooperstown Baseball World was going to use 4 weeks in the park, and the Daily Star Flea Market. Both of those events have been canceled. Cooperstown Baseball World canceled because Oneonta State told them they could not lodge their students on their campus. That was really instrumental for them. They can't have that if they don't have a place for the kids to stay. So they canceled, and the Daily Star contacted us and they want to wait until they think it's a little bit better for people to be in the park together. So they canceled. Neither of those two people, because of the new way we do applications, we don't bill them in advance, the application fee. So there's no refund to be given. Jenny has given her blessing that we will just say, we will forgive. It's like they never applied. So, and that's probably what we'll do with any other events that don't happen. So I'm sorry it was so long and so much. Just trying to give you guys as much information as possible.
Appreciate
That's
it.
it for
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah, that's awesome. A lot of
Yeah.
stuff. So, okay. Anybody have any other questions for Lou about any of that? Okay. Any correspondence? That was probably all covered. Or, old business? No. New business? No, not yet, at least. Okay. If that's all anybody has, yeah,
I just want
yeah.
to say one quick thing. I want to
Sure.
thank Katie
Yeah.
for reaching out to me with the basketball thing and asking about those things. Katie, you did the thing that makes my job so much easier. You just got a hold of me and said, I have this question and Danny wants to be there, and that's great. I would much rather hear from one of you than not hear from one of you and then get surprised later on. So I really appreciate that, Katie. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for, being available and taking the time to talk it through with
Yeah.
not only me, but the group and Danny. So
Yeah, we're happy
Thanks,
to do it.
Lou. Yeah.
I will be so glad when I don't have to tell people no anymore. I will be so glad. It's honestly, it has been hard. It has been hard. So, but we're
Wow.
trying our best to keep everybody safe. That's the bottom line. So,
Yeah, I appreciate you, Lou. I
Yeah.
do.
oh, well,
Thank you.
and I think it's everybody, and I understand people's frustration. They want to be outside. They want to play sports. They want to be in the park. I mean, I've said this before. We don't want nice parks that nobody's in.
Right, right.
I mean, it was awful last summer coming
Mhm.
out of the park and, just seeing people maybe just walking the dogs. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, I'm used to seeing, people playing and basketball going and softball players on the field. And so anyway,
Yeah.
it's been hard. I will be glad when this is hopefully all behind us, if that ever happens.
Lou, I do have one question. Now that we know that Gary Lang, yay, is able to continue with the Oneonta Outlaws this summer, where do you think we'll be able to have the summer concerts?
We're hoping, I'm glad you brought that up, Carolyn. I have all of the summer concerts scheduled. I didn't put them in this report because I knew how much you guys would want another attachment. No, I don't have contracts from everybody yet.
Okay.
And so when I get everybody's individual contract, hopefully next month, they're due, I will put them in. I think we're going to be on the bandstand stage. I think we will. Our groups are not that big. The biggest group is Oneonta Community Concert Band. I've talked with Tom about that. We can downsize their group if we need to, so that they will fit on the stage. And we're just hoping that that's going to be okay this summer. To my knowledge, I'm not exactly sure if it's 6 feet or 10 feet now for music events. The big thing was to get them scheduled, and then we'll go from there. If
Okay.
we have to, we'll put them down on the ground. If they have to be 10
I-
feet and we
Yeah,
can't
excellent.
distance that much, we'll make it work. We will make it work.
Good. Excellent.
So we could put a tent up there. I don't want to do that because we can't protect the tent like we could in Demoski,
Damasky, right.
but we'll figure out something.
Okay.
We want to have them. I think it's important to the community.
It very much is.
So
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Can I
Good,
ask a
good.
follow-up question? So I know that they were held in Damasky last year, and that was presumably because the Outlaws weren't playing. Is the reason for not holding them in Damasky going forward because of overlap of scheduling, or like what is the?
yeah, it would overlap with scheduling.
Okay.
They play on a lot of those nights, and when they're not playing, they're practicing.
Gotcha. Okay. It just seems
So-
like such a great venue. So
It was,
It was a great venue.
Yeah.
I wish we could have that all the time.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know why Gary won't just, nix baseball on Thursday nights. I'm sure that he would be
No.
okay with it. Oh, yeah. No, it was a great venue. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was great.
It'd be ideal. I mean, it would be really nice to use that venue to its full potential too. So
Yeah. Well, when I get contracts from everyone, I'll take a look at it and, I can give Gary a call and see how much we'd overlap, but we certainly couldn't leave a 10 up there, that's for sure.
right.
But anyway,
it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions or anything? Okay. I move to adjourn at 8:05. Does that
I
get
second.
seconded?
I'll second the motion.
And, all right. Is that, Bonnie, need anything else from us? I guess you
No,
might not be.
you're all set.
Okay.
I think Bonnie took a coffee break and went home. I don't blame her.
No, I'm still here.
Okay. All right.
All right,
Good
thank
night,
you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.